Denver Radio Real Estate with Cheryl Garlock, a show about all things real estate and home related in Denver and Colorado, covering topics like buying and selling a home warranties, appraisals, how to stage your home, structural engineering, construction, financing, foreclosure, and more. So whether you're looking to upgrade your home, downsize your home, buy a rental property, or simply just need more information on real estate, then you've come to the right place. And remember, you can always use your mouse to buy a house at denverrealty.com. Now, here's your host, Cheryl Garlock.
Hey, it's Cheryl Garlock with Colorado Front Range Properties, and thank you so much for joining us today on the show. You know, today I want to talk to you about what you need to know about rent-to-own programs. I get a lot of inquiries from a lot of people about asking about the rent-to-own programs. They all want to buy a home, but they think that they can't for one reason or another, so they opt to look into what's called the rent-to-own program. And there's a lot of misinformation out there on the web about that, and I wanted to clarify some of that for you. Now, rent-to-own programs mean that you're either going to do a lease option or a lease purchase. And in the mind of the tenant buyer, that means the person who's going to rent it and ultimately buy it, they think that that generally means is that, well, I'll rent it today, and if I like it, maybe I'll buy it, and it's no big deal, right? Wrong. It is a big deal. So it's a big deal for a whole lot of reasons here. And one of the things that you have to keep in mind that, you know, sometimes tenant buyers don't always think about is that you still have to qualify income-wise, credit-wise for that, because the owner of the property's real purpose in offering a rent-to-own is to be able to go ahead and sell that property to you down the road. How much further down the road are we talking about? Maybe a matter of months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or maybe up to 2 years. But ultimately, they really want to sell that property to you. So, therefore, a lot of times owners refer to the rent-to-own program more as a lease purchase. So you have basically two definitions, you might say, that come under the description of rent-to-own. A lot of tenant buyers think of it as a lease option, kind of remember with the maybe I will, maybe I won't buy it. And a lot of owners or sellers of property are thinking about it as a lease purchase, saying, okay, you're going to lease it for a little while right now while you get certain things in order, and then you're going to actually buy this property here from us there. Now, let's talk real quickly about the pitfalls of doing the rent-to-own or lease option situation here. When you do that, you as the tenant buyer are typically thinking that some of the rent that you pay today is going to be applied to the actual purchase price. Well, I got news for you. That's really not the case there. And the reason that's not the case is because, remember, ultimately you're going to buy this property. And therefore, the lenders make the rules as to what constitutes a down payment. So if you're thinking about money that you pay towards your rent will be applied towards your down payment to buy the house, the lenders will no longer accept that. A lot of things changed with what we call the Dodd-Frank Act over the last few years, and the lenders want you to personally have some real skin in the game. Now, that said, you can still use, say, some of the money that you pay in rent, and you want to apply that towards your purchase. You can apply it towards your purchase price, or you can apply it towards, say, some of your closing cost expenses that you would have when you actually bought a place. But, this also gets even more confusing when you do a rent-to-own situation. And on the flip side, you want to make sure that your interests are fully protected. So when you're doing a rent-to-own situation here, you're asking the owner of the property to freeze the price of the property for that period of time until you actually buy the property. Well, if it's a really short period of time, like a matter of really a few months, that might be okay. But when you have a rising market and sales prices are going through the roof or things are heating up, lots and lots of buyers out there to choose from and, low on inventory and high on demand, well, then the owner of the property essentially loses out because you've frozen their price. So they're not apt to do that. So, and then even if they did do that, and you have a rent-to-own situation where you've put money towards the down payment or towards the purchase price or towards your closing costs, here's your big question. What happens if you don't end up closing on that? Do you really get the money back? Maybe not, because it might be considered option money. So, and generally speaking, option money means that, okay, you're going to go ahead and give the owner, some dollar amount, maybe $2,000, $3,000 or more as an option to go ahead and hold that property for them, for you to buy. But if you don't perform, you don't actually buy it, then what happens with that option money? Generally speaking, you lose it, so if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. That's how that generally works there. So it's not as easy as some of these websites out there make you want to believe that, because there's risk associated with that. And real estate, whether you're renting or you're buying, is all about risk levels. It's all about risk levels with a lender. That's why qualifying for mortgages has an in-depth involvement as far as checking out everything associated with the borrower. And not only that, but the property as well. So rent-to-own opportunities do exist periodically, and primarily they exist when the housing market is slow and basically nothing is selling, and somebody really wants to go ahead and sell that property there, but they can't hardly barely give it away. But, if you have a hot housing market like most parts of the country are experiencing these days here, then that doesn't really work too well. So you next need to look at actually buying a home. Now, one of the reasons people think about rent-to-own programs is because they figure they can't buy. Why is that? Either because they don't have a stable job, or they've just moved here from some other place there and are trying to get set up, you might say, or their credit doesn't work out, or they don't have enough income. So you need to tackle these issues head on. Even if you are successful in securing a rent-to-own situation, remember, you've got to tackle the actual areas of why you can't buy quickly and get that set up and understood and behind you, so to speak. So let's begin with credit. A lot of people think that they can't buy a home because they have poor credit. Well, in fact, you may have some poor credit, but there's a way to clean that up. You do need a professional to help you clean that up. You certainly ought to utilize those services there. One, because if you do use those services of a professional to help clean up that credit, it's going to happen a whole lot faster than you could ever do it yourself there. And sure, that does cost a little bit of money, but it's cheaper in the long run to pay that money today to get somebody to help you clean up your credit than it is if you wait to buy a home and you clean it up on your own, and you wait, say, a year or more, or even 6 months. I'll tell you about waiting in a second here. Another thing reason why people think they want to do rent to own is because they think they need to have a lot of money for a down payment to actually buy a home. Okay, I got news for you. If you're a veteran, great, that's no money down. And even if you're not a veteran, do you know that you can actually get cash down payment assistance programs with as little, I kid you not, as little as $1,000 out of your pocket? Wow, that's incredible. You cannot actually rent a property with security deposit, first month's rent, and sometimes last month's rent for anywhere near what little money it costs you to actually buy a home in the first place. So you don't need to have a lot of money down. Jobs, that's the next thing. You need to have a job. Okay, lenders are looking to see what you have on a consistent basis as far as income is concerned. And they're going to ask you for a 2-year work history. Now, do not be confused that does not say that you need to have worked at the same place for 2 years. It does not mean that at all. It just says that they want to know what you've been doing for work for the last 2 years. So they want to know what that is. And they want to be able to verify what your income is. And then they'll offset that with your debts in order to get you qualified. So you'd be so surprised, though, that buying a home is a lot easier than most people think. Did you know that somebody who's got a job at Walmart is easier to actually get qualified and buy a home as compared to somebody who holds a whole bunch of real estate assets and a whole bunch of other income-producing assets? It's significantly easier if you have just a simple, basic job. So really, don't count yourself out. Find out first what you really need to know about your own abilities to qualify. And don't make assumptions. You need to ask the professionals. That would be the lender and the realtor, who can help you ascertain what you can qualify for. Now, speaking of those particular people, the lender and the realtor there, you definitely need to find a lender who cares and a realtor who cares. Somebody who's going to actually take the time and trouble to talk to you personally about your situation, what you need to do to improve that situation, how you might go about getting your situation taken care of so you can qualify to actually buy a home. Plus, let us not forget, it's no fun to keep moving. So you do a rent-to-own property here, let's say, or you rent a property for a year, all of a sudden you have to move again. It's a hassle picking everything up, packing everything up and making that move. We all know that. So do yourself a favor and let's find out if you really need to do a rent-to-own situation or straight-out rental, or if you can buy and work a timetable as far as that's concerned. Now, it's not the easiest thing to find those houses there, but when you visit our website, there's a Search Homes tab. You want to go to that Search Homes tab and actually fill out the information in there as far as what you're looking for. You can put in how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, you need a garage, how many square feet, where do you need it, all those different things there. You might be able to find something that might be available on a rent-to-own or lease option or lease purchase type of situation there. So definitely go ahead and do that. You want to check that out there. And also, sometimes we have creative financing that will help you buy that property. So sometimes an owner will carry the loan for you. What does that mean? That means that the owner will become your banker, especially if they have a free and clear property, meaning they don't owe any money on that property there. It really is to their economic advantage to actually loan you the money themselves to actually buy that property there. So we call that owner carry terms or owner financing. So that's very, very important there. So I mentioned before here, you don't want to put this off and wait any longer. And the reason why is because the longer you wait, the more it's really going to cost you. And that's because, not so much because the prices of the property go up, but they do go up and they are going up. But it's because the interest rates go up. And, we've been sitting on the sidelines for a long time now with these really low interest rates. I call them seductive interest rates. But the normal interest rate, having done this business now for 30 plus years, is around 7 to 8%. So when you go from a 4% rate up to a 5 or a 6% rate, your monthly mortgage payment, depending on what you buy, is going to jump from $200 to $400 per month for the same size space. So that's why I say you really do not want to put this off any longer than you absolutely have to. Find out today what it takes for you to actually buy a home and be in total control of your own destiny. That's what's really, really critical. And then in the meantime here, be looking at different properties that you might be able to go ahead and buy as far as that's concerned. And if you need to do a lease purchase, like maybe clean up something for a short period of time, maybe the owner would be willing to go ahead and let you lease that property for a short period of time and then buy that property. And they might be so inclined to do that also, particularly if the property is vacant. So, like for 3-6 months, something like that, you might be very much surprised about how that would work. And that would cost you significantly less than actually going out and finding another place to rent with a new security deposit and a first month's rent and possibly the last month's rent there. So, you know what you need to do here is you need to go ahead and get pre-qualified, number one, and you need to find a lender that will actually work with you and give you the real inside skinny on what you need to know, and you need to be very proactive. That last part I cannot suggest strongly enough. You need to be proactive. Nobody can fix this but you. We can guide you, we can help you there, but you've got to take the action on your own to do that. You need to find the right lender. Of course, needless to say, I've got a host of different lenders that I work with, and I'm happy to send you some information about lenders that you might select from. And you need to go ahead and, of course, find the right realtor. So someone who's going to take the time to explain the real inside details about actually the process of buying a home, what the market is really like. How do you contract? How do you negotiate for homes? How does a lease option work? How does a lease purchase work? What's owner financing? Does it apply to me? What kind of financing does apply to me? What can I look forward to be doing? How much does it cost for my down payment? What are closing costs and who pays for that? Is there something I can do? Is there a way that I can negotiate that and get the owner of the property to take care of some of those expenses? You would be surprised at the answers that a good realtor can give you and guide you. So, of course, you can always reach out to me and give me a call. You've got my number there at the end of this broadcast as well as on my website there. So, take a look at that. Let us know what you're thinking, and I look forward to hearing from you. Always want to help people, so give us a call, shoot us an email, visit our website, and we will catch you next time.
You've been listening to Denver Radio Real Estate, the show that covers all things real estate and home related in Colorado. Go to denverrealty.com to sign up for special offers and events. You can also listen to past shows, read educational articles, and find links to all your home and real estate needs. Cheryl would love to hear from you. If you have a topic you would like covered or have a question, email info@denverrealty.com.